Hey gang, how you doing? This is DWAINE from ITMasterKey.com, and I want to welcome you to the CompTIA Network Plus test preparation course. The goal of this course is to give you guys a little foresight, a little insight of what to expect on the actual Network Plus exam. The CompTIA Network Plus exam has a variation of simulations, of question types, and I just want to make sure that you guys are fully prepared and know exactly what to expect when you go inside of the testing center. As you guys already know, I'm DWAINE. I was in the Army for almost 9 years. I have 11 certifications, and I'm fully certified in every course that Master IT offers. I have my bachelor's in information technology management, and I'll have my master's by the end of this year in information technology management. And if you ask me or any of my students, they'll tell you that I'm the best instructor this side of the Mississippi. But all jokes aside, if you look on the ITMasterKey.com website, you can see testimonials from my students, and you can hear it firsthand if you join our Facebook group. And if you search for Master IT Facebook, you should be able to find our Facebook group. It has a lot of upcoming events, special discounted courses, coupons, insight, news, just a lot of stuff that you're looking for if you're planning on getting into the IT profession. So go ahead and join our Master IT Facebook group, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. YouTube page is under construction right now, should be up and running in the next couple weeks, a month at the most. But anyway, that's not what you guys are here for. You're here to be better prepared for the test. So let's just get straight to that. The Network Plus exam has a maximum of 100 questions, but most of my students get right around 80 questions, and you got 90 minutes or hour and a half to complete the test, and you need a 720 out of 900 to pass the actual Network Plus exam. Now, CompTIA has a multitude of questions, a multitude of simulations, and I just wanted you to hear it strictly from the horse's mouth, CompTIA themselves, what the expectations are, and what's actually going to be on the test. So let's just watch this quick video straight from CompTIA.
Are you wondering what it's like to take a CompTIA exam? This video will show you the different exam features and types of exam questions. The first item you'll see after the welcome screen is the Candidate Agreement, also called the NDA. You're allowed up to 28 minutes to review this document. These first couple of screens also show you how much time you have to take the test and the score you need to pass. The following features are available to help you during the test. Navigation arrows allow you to move back and forth from question to question. The timer keeps track of time spent. A calculator is available too. Flag for review allows you to skip a question and come back to it.
Just wanted to caveat on that. There will not be a calculator available on this test. No calculator available on the Network Plus exam. One more time, no calculator on the Network Plus exam.
Later. Time permitting, any questions you flagged will be presented to you again. The review screen will be your final opportunity to review and make changes. Once you click End Review, you can't return to the question section. CompTIA certification exams are comprised of various question types. Type 1, multiple choice questions. Type 2, multiple response questions. The exam software helps by giving a hint when you pick too many. Type 3, fill in the blank questions.
For this exam, no fill-in-the-blank questions. No fill-in-the-blank questions on the Network Plus exam.
You'll need to type your response. Be careful, capitalization may count. Type 4, drag and drop questions, as seen here. Type 5, questions with exhibits. Click the Exhibit button to view. Some questions may display a graphic or video as an exhibit. You may pause video files as often as you like. Type 6, performance-based questions. Click Simulate to begin. These questions simulate an environment or tech.
Now, when I said simulations earlier, this is what I was talking about. They have simulations, and this is CompTIA's way of verifying that you actually know how to do the job. So not just a question and an answer, but it's going to be an actual issue, and you have to actually fix it. You may have to turn something on, turn something off, input a command, open certain ports, close certain ports. So it all depends. One thing about the simulations, though, the clock or the timer will not be present while you are doing the simulation part of the test. So just be cognizant of that. Wear a watch or something, just so you know how much time you've actually expended on the simulations, just so you have enough time to get through those 75, 80 questions that's going to be after those simulations. And another thing is, the simulations are weighted heavily, very heavily. They're weighted more heavy than the test questions, so just make sure that the simulations that you try your best to get those correct.
Technology, and will require you to perform specific tasks. Performance-based questions are based on multifaceted scenarios. If you feel unsure, you may click the reset button, but you will lose any prior work when you perform this action. The timer is hidden during these types of questions, but the clock is still ticking. Since the question is simulating a real environment, be aware you may not see any feedback that you completed the task. When you're confident in your answer, click Done. To see an example of a performance-based question, visit certification.comptia.org/pbq. Before you click End Exam, you may be asked to complete a short survey. Afterward, you'll see your score. It's important to note CompTIA may add question types to its exams that you haven't seen in this video. Also, all translated exams provide the same functionality as English language exams. Clicking the Exhibit button on most translated exams will show test questions and options in English. The one exception may be performance-based questions. We hope this video helped you become more familiar with what to expect on a CompTIA certification exam. We wish you the best on your certification exam.
All right, so that was some good info. Now this is going to get down to the nitty-gritty, exactly what you need to know at a minimum to be successful on the test. First thing is, you have to know the OSI model. Have to know the OSI model, and not just what they are. Not just, okay, first layer is physical, last layer is application, and everything in the middle. You have to know all 7 layers, as well as what happens at every layer, the protocols at every layer, and the devices that work at every layer. So the OSI model is going to be really heavy on this test. Make sure you feel comfortable with that. You have to know routing protocols and port numbers. Port numbers come up a lot, as well as routing protocols. So the routing protocols, you have to know what instances do I use EIGRP, what instances do I use RIP, port numbers, what is DNS, what port number is DNS, so on and so forth. And if those ports are closed or blocked, or if there's something going on with them, what will happen to my network, or how will my network be affected? Troubleshooting. On almost every CompTIA test, troubleshooting is always has a heavy emphasis on troubleshooting. So make sure you feel comfortable with wired as well as wireless troubleshooting. Also, wired and wireless standards. How far can I go with a Cat5 cable? How far can I go with a Bluetooth device? How far can I go away from my access point before I'll start experiencing degradation or attenuation? So just wired and wireless standards. How far, how fast, what frequency can I use? So we have to be well versed in malware detection as well as prevention. So we have to eradicate the virus after we detect it, and then prevent it from happening again. So these are the things that we have to know to be successful on the test. So just take notes and make sure that you focus on these areas, because these areas will come up on the test. Use all tools that are available to you. Make sure you sign up for our Master IT Network Plus course. Take notes, YouTube, follow our YouTube channel and other sources, and Google as well. Google, I'll never fail you. Always knows the answer. So there are ports that are going to come up a lot on the Network Plus test. These different ports are logical, and we have to be familiar with various ports. So let's just go over a few that are common. So for example, DNS, which is domain name server or service, is port 53. DHCP, which automatically gives you an IP address, is port 67 and 68. HTTPS is for secure internet. It's port 80. RDP, remote desktop protocol, 3389, so on and so forth. So we have to be well versed. Let's jump down to POP3. POP3 is a port that is used for email, and that's 110. We have to be well versed in port numbers. So this comes in handy when we're talking about troubleshooting. For example, if port 20 and 21 was blocked, or if it had some issues, you would have issues with sending and receiving files, because that governs the file transfer protocol. Then we got TCP and UDP ports. The difference between TCP and UDP is that TCP sends acknowledgments, UDP does not. TCP sends acknowledgments, UDP does not. So UDP is a lot faster than TCP, but it's connectionless. It does not care if the recipient or the receiver actually receives what was sent. It's going to send it as fast as possible. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. So one example of something that would use UDP would be streaming. So YouTube would use UDP because it sends the information. If you see the video, the cat videos or whatever you're watching, that would pop up on there. TCP would be used for email, of course, because we want to make sure that the receiver actually receives whatever was sent. But this is some of the ports that will come up on the test. There are many other ports, but it's just a basic overview of different ports, and they're all logical. So these ports aren't physical ports. You can't actually touch them, but here are some of the ports that are going to show up on the test, so make sure that you feel comfortable with ports. The layers of the OSI model, we have to know the layers of the OSI model as well as the layers of the TCP IP model. We go really in depth in this in Network Plus, pretty much tell you what happens at every layer, how to troubleshoot every layer, where to start at as far as troubleshooting is concerned, what devices work at every layer, what ports, protocols work at every layer. And because for the Network Plus test, you have to be pretty much in love with the OSI model. If you understand fully how the OSI model works, you'll be successful on a Network Plus test. So the OSI model is another thing that pops up, as well as the TCP IP model, but more of the OSI model. And like I said, sign up for our Network Plus course, and we go really deep into this, like really deep, because this is one of the things that students have the most trouble with, and it's something that comes up on a test a lot, so you might as well be familiar with it. And actually the OSI model comes up almost on every CompTIA test, so getting real familiar with it set you up for future success as well. So for the rest of the preparation course, we're just going to go through different questions and answers, just so we can kind of get familiar with the way that CompTIA likes to ask questions, just so to get you in the right mind frame. So what are the rules called that are used to govern network communications? Those rules are called protocols. Those rules are called protocols. So let's go to the next one, see how we do. What are the public documents that contain the definitions of the TCP/IP protocols called? So let's take a pause really fast. On the Network Plus test and CompTIA tests in general, a lot of times, or almost all the time, the questions and answers will be presented in acronym form. So you have to know what acronyms stand for. Have to know what they stand for, what they do, and if they're not working, how you would fix that issue, or what symptoms would they have. So what are those documents called? RFC, which stands for Request for Comment. Next, what PDU is found at the transport layer? Once again, PDUs, the OSI model, we get really in depth in that inside the course. So make sure you sign up so you can be successful in that course and in your IT professional journey. But let's get back to this. What PDU is found at the transport layer? segments are found at the transport layer. Which model listed below allows for centralized administration in a network environment and provides for easier enforcement and security within a network? That would have to be a client-server model. Another thing that comes up is the difference between client-server and peer-to-peer models. You have to know the difference between those two. What layer of the OSI model is responsible for compression and encryption of data? That would be the presentation layer. What layer of the OSI model, and as you can see, the OSI model comes up quite often, is responsible for opening, closing, and managing communication between source and destination applications? That would have to be the session layer. So for the most part, if you understand the OSI model, network troubleshooting, the questions are straightforward. So that's a good thing about a Network Plus test. The questions aren't really confusing. If you get it wrong, it's just because you didn't know what the answer is most of the time. So which protocol of the OSI model converts the packets to a stream of ones and zeros? That would be the physical layer. What is the most common central device used today to connect computers to a network? That would be a switch. SOHO routers, VPN router, hub. That doesn't make sense for this question, so it would be a switch. Another thing is, of course, we get really heavy into network troubleshooting and get you in the right mind frame for troubleshooting and exactly how CompTIA likes you to go about troubleshooting. But the devices, we go really in depth in that just so you understand what is the purpose of each device inside the network. And if that device isn't working correctly, how will my network react? How will it, what are the symptoms, just so you can actually pass the certification, of course, but when you actually get out in the real world, you'll be able to troubleshoot and perform the job. Which model is used to describe how data communication occurs between hosts? Of course, the OSI model is going to come up again and again and again. Got to get familiar. Which layer in the OSI model do MAC addresses and switches use? That would be the data link layer, and that would be layer 2. Which layer in the OSI model is used to verify the data was delivered without error? That would be the network layer. Now, looking at this, you may think it's a transport layer, but after we deep dive into the OSI model, we fully understand why it would be the network layer. Which protocol do you use as a transport protocol for a video application? We would use UDP because, once again, remember, it doesn't use acknowledgments. Another thing, we would go deep into TCP, UDP. What instances would TCP come in play? What instances would UDP come into play? What are the 7 layers of the OSI model? We got 7 layers. First layer is physical. Last layer is going to be application. What is used to protect one network from another by filtering packets? Don't think too hard. A firewall is what would perform that task. What address should be entered on a Windows client in order for communication to take place with another computer on another network? You have to have a default gateway. Your gateway is what is going to allow you to get on another network. What table does a router use in order to determine where a packet should be forwarded? What does it use? Simply put, it uses a routing table. Once again, in the Network Plus course, we go deep into, what is a router? What does it do? What's the purpose of it? If it's not acting right, what symptoms will my network have? Switches, VPNs, access points, just everything just to get you fully prepared for this exam. When viewing a routing table, what is a default route? What does that look like? That would be the IP address. Another thing that we go really heavy into is IP addressing and subnetting, which is 2 topics that usually have students confused, anxious, and that they worry about on the test. We make sure that you feel 100% comfortable with that before you step inside that box. So that is it. That is our Network Plus preparation course. Make sure that you hit up itmasterkey.com enroll in the course. We got Security Plus, Network Plus, A Plus. We got Microsoft, as well as Cisco certifications. And once again, I'm certified in all of the courses that I teach. We're on Facebook. Just search Master IT. We have a Facebook fan page as well as a group. Make sure that you join the group for updates, little tips, and just join the community to help yourself, future students, as well as past students are in that group. Our YouTube channel will be up and running in the next couple weeks. Follow us on Instagram at IT_master and tweet us at MasterITTX. Thank you so much for joining Master IT. Can't wait to see you in class. And other than that, have a great day.